పవన్.
సార్ అదే MySQL ఇన్‌స్టాలేషన్ ప్రాబ్లమ్ ఉందని చెప్పాను కదా సార్ మీకు.
అవును.
అది ఇంకా ఇన్‌స్టాలేషన్ ప్రాబ్లమ్ అలాగే ఉంది సార్. సురేష్‌కి చెప్పాను. సో 3 డేస్ నుండి డౌన్‌లోడ్ చేస్తున్నాడు. ఇన్‌స్టాల్ చేయడానికి ట్రై చేస్తున్నాడు. కానీ ఇన్‌స్టాల్ అవ్వట్లేదు సార్ అది. 3 డేస్
సి
నుండి ఇప్పటికి 4 టైమ్స్ డౌన్‌లోడ్ చేశాడు సార్.
అంటే నువ్వు మామూలు సిస్టమ్ అయితే తొందరగా ఇన్‌స్టాల్ అయిపోయేది. బట్ అట్లా కాదు కదా! దిస్ ఇస్ పవన్ సిస్టమ్. పవర్ స్టార్ పవన్ కళ్యాణ్ సిస్టమ్. అంత ఈజీ
సార్
కాదు.
అర్థం కాదు
అదే.
సార్. యాక్చువల్లీ
No, sir.
నేను ఇన్‌స్టాల్ చేయడానికి ట్రై
Sir, నా
చేస్తుంటే
దాంట్లో కూడా సేమ్
ఇంకొకసారి
ప్రాబ్లం.
పాస్వర్డ్ అడుగుతుంది సార్.
ఓకే. మీరు చేయలేరు నాన్న. యూ పీపుల్ కెనాట్ డూ థట్. ఓన్లీ ఐటీ పీపుల్ కెన్ డూ థట్. ట్రై టు అండర్‌స్టాండ్. ద
అండ్ ఐటీ
లిమిటేషన్
సపోర్ట్
హియర్.
కూడా మెయిల్ రైజ్ చేశాను సార్.
దే బేసికల్లీ షుడ్ గెట్ బ్యాక్ టు యూ. ఐల్ స్పీక్ టు హిమ్. మీ ఇద్దరికి సురేషే కోఆర్డినేట్ చేస్తున్నాడా?
అవును సార్.
Yes, sir.
ఓకే. నేను సురేష్‌తో ఒకసారి మాట్లాడతాను. ఓకేనా? ఇవాళ వెంకటేష్ అని ఉన్నాడు. అతనితో కూడా చెప్తాను. ప్రాబబులీ
ఓకే సార్.
సురేష్ ఏమైనా టఫ్ ఫీల్ అయితే వెంకటేష్ హెల్ప్ చేస్తూ ఉంటాడు. సో, ఇద్దరికీ చెప్తాను నేను. మోస్ట్ ప్రాబబులీ ద ప్రాబ్లమ్ విల్ బి రిజాల్వ్డ్ టుడే. ఓకేనా?
ఓకే సార్. యాక్చువల్లీ MySQL చెప్పినప్పటి నుండి ట్రై చేస్తున్నాను సార్. అసలు
नहीं, the
అవ్వట్లేదు.
problem नहीं, at any cost today the problem will be resolved. I'll insist them, like I'll tell them ki you please install this or else they cannot practice. They are not practicing since 1 week because of your failure, I'll say. And I'll tell them ki if they don't clear this, I'll send a mail to their manager, so they'll
Yes
come
sir.
and clear
Because
the
of this,
problem,
we
so
are
don't
worrying
worry on
about
that.
worrying
No,
so much about.
don't worry,
Okay, sir.
do not worry. Today the problem will be solved. Okay.
Okay sir.
So where am I? Yes, I'm supposed to show you a new project. Okay, so let's create a new project. Okay, so steps are file, new, dynamic web project is what we are supposed to create. Excellent. What is the project name? Let's say test. Okay, or I could say uh, first web, something like you can give any name. Yeah, mailing system already use ho gaya na, so I'm giving first web. Okay, now this runtime you are supposed to set without failure. So click on the runtime, Apache. Here is all the possible servers that are supported by this IDE: Apache, Basic, IBM, Oracle, Red Hat, Resin, SAP, all such. And then JPAS is also there. So I choose Apache and I have chosen 8.5, and then it will ask you where this is available. So it is available in C Apache Tomcat, and then below you could actually select the installed JREs. This comes from the setting which you have seen before. Okay, but however, before you do this one, all you have to do is go to Window, Preferences, say GRE, and click on Install JREs. Here is the JRE that I have selected, JDK1. If you have not, remove the existing one, add a new one, go to Standard Virtual Machine. Where your Standard Virtual Machine is available from, click on the directory, go to that installation folder, C drive, program files, and Java JDK. This is the installation of JDK. Select this folder, and then below it will say these are all the possible available jars. I'll try to take whatever is required. So you say just finish. Now it will bring, chalo, this is what my JDK is. Okay. Now you apply and close. This is the step number one. Step number two, you have to do, go to the same preferences. This time you go to runtime, and there is something called as console. In the console, by default, this will be checked. Okay. So, I mean, it is allowing only 80,000 lines of code in the console. So, isko remove kar do. Isko remove kar do. Then what happens is, also you can say enable word wrap. Then what happens is basically will allow any number of lines to be displayed in the console. When you are having the logs scrolling, it will not stop you to 80,000 lines. It will take you further. Okay. Say apply, apply and close. So how many settings you are doing here? How many settings you are doing here? Setting number one, JRE, right?
Setting
Yes,
number
sir.
2 runtime.
Setting number two, console, and then you have to set your runtime. So you could actually go for runtime system also. So if you have seen this one, uh, servers, you have the server, right? So below you have servers. So runtime environments. Here I have set Apache Tomcat. You don't like this, remove it. By default, it will be like this, a plain thing. I repeat, it will be like this, a plain thing. So here, third setting, you need to go to server, runtime environment. What is runtime you are looking at? Add. So here you can select what is runtime you are looking at? Apache. Apache Tomcat 8.5. Next, where this is available Apache Tomcat, you have it in C drive Apache Tomcat, and then choose the JRE and then finish. So this is my new runtime environment. Apply and close. So how many settings? One is Java runtime environment. Run two is server runtime environment. Server's runtime environment is Apache, and the third one is the console, enabling output more than 80,000 lines. Now your this one, whatever you are seeing here, is ready to run Java web applications. Okay, so now I will go with file, new, dynamic web project, and I'll give the name as web test, something like that. And you could see the target runtime is Apache Tomcat because it is already there. You only configured it, and then the dynamic web module version 3.1 default configuration is Apache 8.5. All that stuff is readily available. Now you have to simply click on next, see the options. SRC main Java is going to be your source code folder. That means where you are writing your Java files. And when you try to compile these, you will be getting dot class files. Those automatically will be placed into a folder called build classes. Am I clear? Build classes. So here is your project structure. How looks like. Next. Then it says key. You want me to create this web.xml deployment descriptor? I said yes, yes. Please create. And then context root. This is the name of the application. You have to give it after localhost 8080 Tomcat port. Finish. Now you have web test. How do you identify the one created is a web project or not? Now you will see the symbol J, and there is a globe symbol. Globe stands for W. Okay, that means it is a web project. You could actually see currently only JARE system library is added, and at runtime you have Apache Tomcat is added. Fair enough. And src main Java is your code folder, and build will contain classes in future. Once you write your Java class here, that will get built into this build folder. And below in the src section, main section, along with Java, there is something called as web app. Well, this is nothing but the same thing over here. In the web app, you will see web inf, and the WebInf will contain something called as lib and web.xml. So here is the map, how it looks like. Basically at runtime, the root folder is going to be web-inf. Okay, so this is the root folder. So the WebInf folder what you have in the project will have a WebInf folder. Let us say if this is your project called web test or mailing system, assuming this is your project name. Okay, so within the Tomcat server there is something called as web apps. Am I clear? What is the folder name? What is the folder name? Web apps. So this web apps folder is there within Tomcat. So from Tomcat, when you go inside the Tomcat server, by default see web apps. Within web apps, you will have your project specific folder, either web test or mailing system. Now within this, the root parental folder is going to be your web-inf. Okay, so what this web-inf will have is this web-inf folder will contain
हाँ
all HTML
काय
pages, all JSP
हाँ
pages,
बोला था
all CSS files, all JavaScript files, all images files in their respective folders. Like HTML, JSP will be open, and you will be having a CSS folder, JS folder, and images folder where you will be seeing all that stuff. And then along with that, you would be
हाँ
having,
जमना क्या ना
guys, mute yourself. Please mute yourself. Then the slash classes is a folder where you actually see all your packages. So here is where you have all your Java code packages with class files. So all the classes will be coming here. This is what we call as build. Okay, so the output folder is basically the build folder. The build folder is under WebInf, basically directly available. Along with that, along with these classes, you will be having a folder called lib, and this lib folder will contain all the jar files. So this is what the final look you see at the runtime. But at the design time, at development time, you would be having your web app, and the web app is followed by GRE libraries, and you will be having server libraries, and you will be having src main Java folder, and which will contain your packages and Java files. Along with that, you have src main web slash. So src main Java, src main web. Src main web contains your web INF. Okay, as well as it contains mega INF. And some system models which will have something called as web content section. Well, this contains your HTML, JSP, JavaScript, CSS, extra. Whatever you wanted to create, you will be having this one. And then below, you will be having a build folder with the classes, as well as along with the build folder, you will also get a jar file after building the project. That means to after comparing the project, this is what you exactly get. Okay. Now the build classes section contains uh, this contains all the classes and jar file. Okay, after building the project. So jar or var, basically it can be either var or jar. So this is how the design structure is. Am I clear? This is how the design structure is. So here you could actually see this is what it is. Now you have web app. It's not web content. Web content is in netbeans. This is web app. My mistake. Okay, so web app should contain HTML, JavaScript, JSP, JavaScript kind of files. Build classes will contain your classes, all that stuff. Now this is your project structure. So how you are going to create different people? Now, how many people are required in order to develop a project is at the structural level. Please note at the structural level, what all you require. Irrespective of anything is there or not, the very first thing you need to have is web.xml with the welcome file setting. Okay, this is a root thing. Welcome file. What is a welcome file you need to run for this project? And then what else you need to have? Well, of course, you need to have a welcome file, which is going to be HTML or JSP file. Okay, so this is first two steps are like this. And then what is the third step I need to do? Third step, set server. Then what is the fourth step? आपने server को set कर दिया. Copy necessary jars into. Okay, so what are all the jars you need? Basically speaking, servlet hyphen API dot jar, JSP hyphen API dot jar, and MySQL JDBC driver. Okay, these are all the three jars which you need to copy it to the lib folder. And then as a step number 5, now all you have is your project is basically ready with all the necessary jar files. Okay, you are about to create pages and then you are supposed to work with. Now, if you are dealing with database, okay, assume at the very much zeroth level, make sure that you have your tables ready. Zeroth level, create DB tables extra, whatever is needed, and then you have to create a I mean, like you have to create a dynamic web project. comma create. Here it is my mistake. Web project. Okay, this is your 0th step. And then after creating the dynamic web project, well, please select, uh, you know, select your web.xml to be created, and your welcome file should be there, and then copy necessary jars from the outside source servlets-api, JSP-api, MySQL JDBC driver into our lib folder. Then the fifth and most crucial step is create packages, Java files, and necessary views. Views means HTML pages. That's what you need to do. Now, to develop this, what are all the things that you need here? Is when you develop necessary packages, when I'm speaking about, please understand the main packages that you would be requiring is xxx dot controller, xxx dot um, you know response, request response. So request has come, he has handled, and then need to have service layer, PO layer, controller request response service, and data access object. Yeah, uh, utils. That's one thing, you need to have utils. You cannot forget utility classes to be written over there. And entity, or people call this as model. So this is where exactly you run, you write entities or models which represents the table. Okay, so these are all the kind of packages you need to have. All of these classes to be created, and they will be communicating with each other as per to the need. Am I clear on this? Even if you work on Spring project also, the different packages that you are looking at, they are going to be same. Yes, please continue. Ask your question, please.
Sir, which layer we develop first and why?
हाँ मैं वो भी बताऊंगा ना, वो तो मिनिमम चाहिए। आप मैं आई जस्ट टोल्ड की क्रिएट पैकेजेस, आप
Okay,
समझ
sir.
रहे हो? दीज आर पैकेजेस ओनली। अभी हम लोगों ने लेयर तक नहीं गए, अभी जाएंगे आराम से। नाउ व्हाट आई वांटेड टू इंट्रोड्यूस इज वन मोर लेयर फॉर यू पीपल, xxx dot service dot impl, and then similarly xxx dot dao dot impl. ये मत पूछो what is impl. Basically this layer contains an interface, and this layer contains implementation class. Okay, and then model is basically nothing but our ORM file. Again, this is service which will contain interface, and this contains class. Okay, and then this one request Pojo class, and this one is also a Pojo class. And this is what we have servlet, or yes, servlets. You can have one servlet or you can have more servlet. Ram, your utility calf here. Well, here is where we can have factory classes and utility classes that are common among multiple projects. Okay, this is where exactly we'll be having factory classes and utility classes. Understood ना? Now, कौन पहले बनाना है, कौन बाद में बनाना है, that is what we are going to learn up right now, just now. Okay, we'll start that one slowly. By 1:30 we'll complete again one simple example. Yesterday I shown you how to save the data, right? So today I will show you how to retrieve the data. Okay. Just be ready. I'm frequently checking my mobile. Don't know. Uh, is my screen delaying to you people? मतलब slowly आ रहा है क्या?
It is set to us.
Sir.
अच्छा ठीक है.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
connecting. I'm connecting to another net. जैसे मैंने बोला था, like I have taken two internets at my home now. If one is giving problem, switching to another. तो रुको मैं फिर disconnect होके connect होता हूँ. एक second के लिए once the net is power done. Okay. And let the recording be continued, and I will just connect back with another internet. Okay, I'm connected back. I'm sharing my screen. See if it is reflecting back quickly. Okay, I'm minimizing the screen. See if it is minimizing quickly. You're able to see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Minimize हुआ?
Yes, sir.
अच्छा स्पीड है ना? बढ़िया, super. Right. So what layer you are supposed to create first? What layer you are supposed to create next? That's first thing you have question, right? You always have to do something called as reverse engineering. Okay, so you have to create the dependency layer first, and then have to, sorry, independent layer first, and then have to create the dependency layer. Now if you take this in this way, if you remove this one, as I told you, this is your UI. Okay, and this is your DB. In order to pass the data or to fetch the data from the database to the UI, the middle layer actually will help you. Okay, so what exactly is there in the middle layer? How many people are there is what we are going to see. Well, this will actually pass the data and which will fetch the data. But yeah, so similarly here also, this is something like, send the data and receive the data. Okay, now the very, see the way you are developing it, this is a table, correct? And then this is a HTML page. So HTML or JSP page. Now, when you develop things, right? Okay, most of the times what happens is one complete task will never be given to a single person. The task will be divided among multiple people, and you will be asked to work on that one. How it is going to help anyway? It is going to help, I'll tell you. So the work will be divided into, two parts. One will work on the UI handling part, the other will work on the DB part. Okay, so what is the DB part contains? So DB part contains your entity, which represents the table, which is ORM object. and it will contain DAO as well as its IMPL methods, which actually have the IMPL is what we have the JDBC code. Okay, so which will go and then speak to the database table. Okay, well, if you have to speak to a table, first of all the table should be ready. So if you divide the whole thing into two parts, okay, and this is part 1 P1, and or developer 1, this has been given to developer 1, and this has been given to developer 2. For both of them we will see. For developer 2, what should be the step number 1? He must have the table, and then to represent this table, this bugger have to have an entity 2, because to the DAO from here what is supplied is entity. So the data is given to entity and entity is given to DAO. That is how it will work. Okay, now after this fellow is ready, the very next person to be ready is your DAO with the message, with the methods that you are supposed to, and the same methods will be implemented using the JDBC code. So these are the 4 layers you have to have ready in the order. One, the first one is table, second is ORM object, third is DAO, fourth one IAPL. At the zeroth level, please understand, at the zeroth level, which is at the project level, you will be having your connection factory. Only one time it will be created. So you will not have this connection factory class created every time. This will be created only once. And then table onwards, each and everything will be created repeatedly again and again and again and again. But connection factory will be only once for project. That's why this is given with the zeroth task capability. Okay. तो पहले ये चाहिए तुम्हें structure level पे you need to have a connection factory. Now these are all the 4 layers you need to have. Now at the UI level, assume you have a UI, and this UI will have form which will send the information or which will be receiving the information from you. So here this guy, either to save the info or to get the info, he will be depending on something called as a service, followed by AMPL. So here we have service and service, IMPL. Service followed by IMPL we have. So who will be developed first? Who will be developed next? So first of all, what IMPL will do, it will contain the code to call the DAO. That's all. Nothing more than that. And service will contain methods to and to call this fellow. And then the same methods are implemented by your IMPL, which will go and then call the DAO and then pass on the data. So to give this service some data, here I require a controller which will pass request data and receive response data. That's what service will do. Chalo, take care of here. How about taking the input? Well, input will come to you in the form of request, and response will go from you in the form of response closure. So basically, the way you are speaking about, okay, so the request is coming here. You take this as an input and this one as an output, something like that. So request and response objects are necessary to identify what request will come, what response will go. So these are going to be the first layer, and the zeroth level layer is your UI, because this is the guy who decides the wireframes. So after he decides, just like here we have a connection factor and class table, right? Similarly, you will have a UI here who will represent your client application, and whatever is there in the UI, you will have to develop here in the request pose as well as in response pose. And then the second one you are supposed to develop is your service. This one, service IMPL. So here is your uh, third, second, as well as third. Now after service sample ready, you will be having your Mr. Controller. You are supposed to create the controller who will perform a controlling operation of on controlling operations on the services request response, and then the service layer will call DAO and then get the response. Finally, he'll validate it, he'll show back to the client. All that stuff will be handled by your controller. So he will be the last person to be written. Even if you do parallel or if you do individual contribution, development or anything, the way you develop software is in this way. Note down, everybody. Ask me if you feel any doubt. Now, what if only one
No, sir.
person is doing all this stuff? This is my question. Assume this is if two members are doing a task, given task, correct? What if only one person is doing this? Well, in that case, you complete the database part first and then come to the coding part. Okay.
Yes, sir. First completed DAO part.
So DAO will speak to the database, and without DAO you cannot call service, and without service you cannot call controller. Agreed or not? So
Yes, sir.
even if you wanted to run controller and service in a proper way, those people require the other part layer. So the order must be in this order, in this way. Itla. Hope this is clear.
Yes, sir.
Even if you go to Spring project also, it is the same thing. The way you write the controller, now we are writing servlet Java classes, right? This slightly will alter. Remaining the structure you are seeing is as it is. There is no single change in the structure. Yeah, one change. In the place of JDBC, bloody you will write Hibernate. That's all. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now what we do, assume we have a user table. We'll try to bring list of users and then show here. That is what we are going to develop. Shall we? We have one user there. One is Ram Shankar is there. So we'll try to add manually one more user and we will try to bring his data, show in the JSP. Shall we do that one?
Yes, sir.
चलो आ जाओ भाई. So this is my plain project which I have created. Do it have anything here? No. So what is the step number one I need to do? I have created a project. Step number two, set the server runtime. Step number three, set the Java runtime. Step number four, open the web.xml, make the welcome page. So here it says ki welcome is index.html, right? I'll make this as index.jsp for time being. So what is my welcome file here? Index.jsp. Do I have index.jsp with me? No. Where do I create? In the web app section. Right click on the web app. Please do not right click on web.inf. I repeat, do not create the web pages under web.inf. That those will be placed under web.inf automatically when you build the project. But while the time of creating, you should create here in the web app. Right click, new JSP file. You can see CSS file, HTML file, JSP file, JavaScript file, and others. So I am choosing JSP. Okay, what is the JSP file? We'll come to that. But first of all, what is the name of this file? I should keep it as index. And then when you click on next, right, it will ask you which version I wanted to use for your syntax and all. I said ki JSP5 is selected. तो ठीक है, use कर दो. Finish. So your file is created. Apart from the top section that you are seeing, at the red page language is equals to Java. See the remaining section and see how it is looking like.
HTML,
Starting
sir.
from same as HTML, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is. The answer is JSP is nothing but HTML page embedded with Java code. What do you mean by that? See, here I am writing H1. Today is, what is the date? 9th March. 09
Nine.
March 2022. Control S. Now I will try to right click on the web test. I'll say run on the server. Okay. Yeah. Today is March 22. Okay. Now this has a warning. If you have observed, it has shown me, भाई ये देखो तुम्हारा run debug में जाके console में enable word wrap करो. So he says कि uncheck the word wrap. Word wrap is enabled up to 20 times slower. It says कि because of word wrap it is 20 times slower. Never remind me again. तो what happens word wrap है तो well a console में whoever is a longer text, right, that will come to multiple lines instead of single line, it will come to multiple lines. So ये क्या करता है, because of it is wrapping, it is becoming slower. Well, if you want, you can go to window preferences, go to run and debug settings, and console में जाके you can remove this wrap and then say apply. So if you see this one, you can scroll down. This is in a single page, single line. Okay. Now, where am I? Here it is. Arre, where is the page there? So I'll try to run this one. Right click, run as, run on the server. Okay, this is running, right? So this is the output. Today is 9th March. Tomorrow, if you have to run this page, you will again have to rebuild the application because it will still show 9th March. Rather, what if you wanted to show dynamic data? Well, what Java says key, instead of doing that, you could actually embed Java code within this HTML by writing this scriptlet. So here you can say out.println new date java.util.date dot okay, control S. Well, would like to run this. You can see this. Today is 9th March 2022 along with the time. How simple this is. Yes or no? You know what is out.println stands for, right? System.out.println. What is stands for? Print anything that is given as an input, correct or not? So here the out is pointing to the browser, so it directly prints back to the browser. The entire line is equals to, or it is equals to something like this. You can also specify this as scriptlet is equals to new date dot to local string, and that's all. I'm giving a straight away Java expression. I said key, they go today is so and so. Okay, control S. क्या हुआ इसको? Why the red symbol is not going? अरे वो बोलता है कि ये deprecated है, चल रहने तो कोई problem नहीं. So I'll just say refresh. Okay. So this is one and the same thing. Either you do it is equals to, or you can say out.println. Both are same. Okay, na? Get it? So what is this? This is a Java code I am trying to embed inside a HTML page. Then it is said to be JSP, Java server page. So a page which is built at the Java server side and returned back to the client is called as Java server page. Okay. Guys, clear? This is JSP. Now here,
Yes.
my intention is to show the list of users. So what I will do, I'll say list of users. ये मेरे को दिखाना है. When I run this application, I wanted to see the list of users. You all know that how the users can be shown in HTML using a table, tabular format, right? So I have a table, and within the table, I will be having a th, and /th क्या था उसका user name or name of the person. Now I'll say name and username. I cannot show password, so I'll say email ID, and finally I'll say well, these are the 4 headers I wanted to show, and then below to this table heading, I will be having different tiers. So how many rows I can have? Well, those many rows. How many elements you are bringing back from the backend? Assuming that I will bring each and every row in the form of a list, because I don't know how many rows are there in the table. So I cannot go for an array. Okay, so I'll try to bring list of rows. So I'll write my script. So here, this placeholder will help you to write Java code. Am I clear? This placeholder helps you to write Java code. So what we will do? So we write code to read a list of user master elements and print them. This is what my understanding or requirement is. Okay. So here, what am I supposed to do? I'll say a list, control space bar. Please understand, if you want it auto import or if you want autofill has to happen, okay, you will say, have to say control space bar. So it will show the autofill. I am interested in java.util.list. Yes, it is. And you have user master over here, it will not autofill because you don't have any user master. So list of type, for timing I'm saying string user list is equals to, I'll try to bring it. So new array list. What happened is I have taken a list. So this list can be of any size. It can have 1 record, it can have 0 records, it can have 100 records. Basically, we will try to bring this from the DAO. We do not have anything as of now. We are simply bringing the index.jsp. So I will say if this user list not is equals to null and user list dot size is greater than 0, that means I have at least one person, and then I wanted to do some work over here. So look at this. So this if condition started here and end here. What you wanted to do from here? See, I wanted to perform an operation. Whatever I get it from user list, I wanted to print. So here I will say for each of this user list, I wanted to print, okay, every detail. So here I will say for each user master available in user list, I wanted to perform one more operation. Okay, so do I have user list? By the way, user master is there. We do not have any user master, right? Try to understand. Do you have any user master? No. So here I said string, so I'll say for each string. Now here is what my intention is. I'll create a tr/tr. So for each of that I am trying to get, I'll try to print that value. So he will say td/td, and I'll print so many tds like this. Am I clear? So that's my JS page. Clear? what we will have to do is here we'll have to say scriptlet is equals to whatever the value you wanted to print, something like that, and then those values will be reflected here. In real time we will be bringing the user details, so you will be bringing the name, you may email id, mobile number, username, kind of stuff, right? We'll try to print these details. For now, because I do not have the user master in my project, I have dumbly written some value to be printed over here. All right, so control s, let's see how this looks like, by the way. So I'll say refresh. Well, name, user, and all, nothing is displayed. All right, so if you say this table and border is equals to 1, you thoda with the border दिखेगा वैसा, something like that. As of now there is no data inside, so it is not showing any data to you people, but please understand, we will add up the data. Got it, right? So how you are embedding Java code inside a HTML? Using the script let, the name of this symbol you are getting, angular bracket with the percentile, is called script let, which will let you to write script inside a HTML page. For us it is a Java code. Okay, am I clear? Any doubt so far?
Okay.
हम लोगों ने कुछ नहीं किया. नाउ वी आर येट टू कंप्लीट दिस जेएस पेज थोड़ी देर के बाद, ठीक है. नाउ व्हाट इज दैट आई हैव अ web.xml वेलकम पेज लिखा है मैंने, एंड वेलकम पेज का थोड़ा उसका फेस डेवलप करके वहां पे रखा. कोई देखेगा उसको लगेगा कि चलो कुछ तो है इसमें. ओके, बट डेटा इज नॉट देयर. वी आर येट टू डेवलप कोड एंड वी आर येट टू ब्रिंग द डेटा. ओके, नाउ आई विल क्लोज दिस index.html for time being. As I told you, we have to go with reverse engineering. Step number 1, we need to have Mr. Table. Do we have MySQL command line client? Root. Okay. Um, Show databases. And there is something called as mailing system. So we will see use or connect mailing system, and okay. So this is the data we have. Have we completed the first one? I mean, did we complete the 0th layer? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, table is
Yes,
ready.
sir.
Okay, so for this project, so the table will be, so many tables will be created based on so many requirements. But for the first time, a project need to have database access using a utility class. So in the package, currently there are no packages in here. I will try to create a new package. Let us create all the packages one after another. So what is the package you need to have? From dot Jupyter dot web test dot controller. All right, so
Yes, sir.
what you will have to do, another right click, new package.
Service.
So web test dot service, new package. MPL.
D.
Have DO MPL, service MPL, controller. What else you need? Model. Okay, model period. What else you need? Utils. Well, you have created all the packages. Now in reverse engineering order, you have to create all the necessary things. That's it. No. I need to have request and response also. Please don't forget. So the package request and now it is clear. Correct. Whatever to be created, I have created all of the packages in order. रुको यार एक मिनट. Just giving a message. Okay, so I'll come to util, right click. And by the way, the library is still vacant, right? So what are all the jar files I need to copy? Tell me. D drive, softwares.
Servlet.
I'll go with MySQL connector, Control C, and I'll come down here, paste. Similarly, sometimes the jar files that are there in MySQL will not help. Sorry, the jar files in Apache Tomcat here will not help. So to compile time support, we will go to C drive, Apache Tomcat. It's not C, wherever you have your Tomcat, that is the place I'm saying. Go to LIB section. There you will see JSP-API, Servlet-API, and expression language, EL-API files, 3 files. Expression language is also very useful. For now it is not useful till we come to spring. You have to take only these two, JSP-API, Servlet-API. Control C, come back here and paste. Done. Now your project is ready with the necessary files. It does not have any Java source code so far. All it have is its structure ready along with the welcome page index.jsp. Okay. Well, I will go to index.jsp and in fact I will remove all this stuff. So table के यहाँ पे आपने जो भी लिखा ना, so I'll try to remove. We'll write it one more time for time being. Control S. Okay. Pretty enough. Pretty good. Okay. This is a simple static page which does not have anything, and we'll try to add whatever is required slowly. Control S. Okay. Well, so in the utils, I'll say right click new Java class. नाम क्या था उसका? Connection factory. So what this class connection factory will do actually, it helps us to create JDBC connection and then let us communicate to the database. So this guy have to have a static get connection method which can be called by many DAOs that you have in your application. So what if your application is so big, it deals with 150, 170, 200 tables, then you will be having nearly 200 DAOs in your project. So all the DAOs will not have what do you call this code for creation and closing of connections. That's unnecessary. So that code should be here in the connection factory. This is the guy who should create connections and supply them. Well, he will be having a public static, the return type is connection, control spacebar. It says ki java.sql.connection. Yes, this is what I'm looking at. And get connection. So this method has to return a new connection object. So here I'll say connection con is equals to null and return con. So this work is over. Now here I will try to configure that connection. Okay, how do I do that? So you will have to say try and catch exception E. Now, why you are writing try catch? Because the connection creation process require you to catch SQL exception. So here I am supposed to catch exception and I'm supposed to print it, whatever exception I am getting. Well, what is that you are trying, Ram? See, I am trying to call the driver manager class dot get connection, to which I will supply the URL, username, and password.
Password.
So what is the URL? Something. What is the username? Something. What is the password? Something. Well, that's my structure. Okay, this is my structure. So all you have to do is, the way you are supposed to do this is, you know, here you need to supply JDBC colon mysql colon slash slash localhost colon 3306. This is fixed string
306.
slash slash your database schema name. For my database schema, mailing system is the one. And then what else I need to supply, Rama? देखो यहाँ पे हम लोगों को सप्लाई करना है यूजर
User
नेम
name.
एंड योर पासवर्ड. क्या सप्लाई बढ़िया. But where is this driver? See, this JDBC to MySQL translation has to be done by some driver. वो driver किधर है? Well, here itself you can say every time you cannot initiate a driver. Driver has to be initiated first time when the project loads. So on the top of this method, because this is the static method, this is also loaded only once for the project. Okay, remember, static elements are always loaded once per project. Normal class instances are loaded multiple for multiple calls. So because this is a static level, I have a static block. So within the static block, I will initiate Mr. Driver. So what is that I need to do? Class dot for the name. What is the name of my driver? Com dot mysql dot cj dot jdbc dot
JDBC.
driver. लेकिन while the time of getting the class name, it shows that देखो भैया, there is a big chance that a class not found exception will be thrown here. So I request you to handle it. So I'll say surround with try catch. Now it automatically surrounds it. Am I clear?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So if you are not interested to specifically say class not found, you are expecting one or two more exceptions में throw, तो उसको happily exception E बना दो, and then that's all. E.print stack trace is a detailed explanation printing of the error. Okay, so this is what it is. So now I have my class.for name and my driver readily loaded over here. After the driver is loaded, I'll just come down and then what is the get connection return type? This returns a java.sql.connection. So I need to grab con is equals to. So now I have grabbed the connection and the same connection that I have grabbed after calling this, I'm returning. So I am actually returning an open connection to the caller. Am I clear on this point? Any doubts so far?
No, sir.
तो ये मेरा पहला स्ट्रक्चरल क्लास है. सो दिस इज क्रिएटेड ओनली वंस पर प्रोजेक्ट. उसके बाद बार बार नहीं क्रिएट करूंगा. But I would be using it repeatedly. Simply calling connection factor dot get connection. I will be getting an open connection. So now I am done with this. I'll close this. I don't. Okay, fair enough. So this class is ready. Your structure is ready. You have to add the remaining people and then bring back, the data which you are supposed to show back in the page. तो देखो मैं क्या करता हूँ. So the very next person you need to have is Mr. Model, a class called user master who represents the database. Correct? That's what we said, right? Ye ho gaya. This has been done. Okay, this has been done. Table ho gaya. Right or wrong? Table has been done. Who is the next person to be created out of this? ORM object. Correct or not?
Yes, sir.
So ORM object create kar raha hu. So here this user master serializable, implement serializable, or please give a serialization id generated. Don't go for default one, please give a generated serialization id. Now this helps the server when it is sending this object inside the stream and receiving from the screen stream to identify the id of this particular object. Now what is this a class is all about is it actually represents a table. Now when you actually come into Hibernate, you will understand on the head of this table you will write @entity, specifying that this class is not a normal Java class. This is an entity. Entity stands for object representation version of the table. So you have to tell the system what is the table, @table, and name is equals to, let's say, user master. Now you have said this is the user master table. So this entity represents this table. Understood? This is what we call as ORM mapping, object to relational mapping. And then you will be having private int ID, and then you have private string username, private string password. I don't mind retyping all the stuff that I have typed yesterday, but please note down everything. Name, okay. So these are all the variables I have. Now, please understand when it comes to Hibernate, I'm giving a comment over here because it won't identify them. When it comes to Hibernate, this ID is identified as @ID. Yani ki this is a primary key, and @generated value. And then we will say status is equals to generation type dot identity. If you know SQL Server, you will understand what is identity. So basically, this is nothing but an auto increment value, and it is a primary key for the table. This is what I'm specifying. So how this is generated automatically using an identity. So for the identity, default values, seed is equals to 1, increment is equals to 1. That means it starts from 1 and increases 1 automatically every time. Okay, you need not specify the settings. Hibernate specifies this. You will identify what is an identity if you are from Microsoft SQL Server background. When you create a table, when you set it as a primary key, in the properties, we will say right click is identity. Yes, is what we will say. The moment when you select is identity as, below there are two more properties you will see, seed and increment. The same thing is set over here through the Hibernate by specifying this is a 1 as a seed and 1 as an increment, because we are giving auto increment for this one. And on the head of this one, let's say for example, a table contains a column name called user underscore name. Then you could specify @column name is equals to user underscore name. This is how you can say. And the type is equals to string java.lang.string, and then any validation is required, is null, true, false, all that stuff you can specify in the column part. So you need to understand why I am introducing this user master in the initial level. This is because if you get habituated to this kind of element, when you come to Hibernate, you don't feel this new. So in Hibernate, this guy is representing a table. So this guy is called as an ORM object. So this is called as an entity or ORM, object to relational mapper object. Okay. Well, what else I need? Well, please provide a default constructor, public user master, and super. Done. What else required, Rama? भाई इसके मुंह पे ना default getters and setters दे दो. Source, generate getters and setters, select all, remove serializable. You need to have citizen gets for remaining generate. Now this entity is ready. Control S. Make clear? Any doubts in this object creation?
No, sir.
Why we require this object? To represent the table in our application. Am I clear? Okay. तो इससे डील कौन करेगा? Data access object, because the name himself applies data access
Yes,
object.
DAO.
Okay, DAO. तो उसके पास जाएंगे. Let us see how he has to be created. So we are coming step by step in the reverse engineering process. Okay. तो my guy DAO के पास new. For the project, for the entire project, you would create an abstract class or an interface. Basically, the rule says that you create an interface and then create an abstract class and follow accordingly. Okay. So what people will generally do, they have the habit of using utility classes. They will write utility classes, but I suggest writing a small abstract class and extend it to make use of your code. Basically, when you try to create an abstract class DAO, so I am trying to create this abstract class. उसका नाम है web test DAO, and this guy is going to be an interface, honestly speaking. So here is my interface. Right click, new interface, web test DAO. This web test DAO interface defines all the generic functionality of every DAO. So what is the main work of DAO? To perform CRUD operations. What do you mean by CRUD? Create, read, update, and delete. Insert, update, delete, select. समझ रहे हो? Create, insert, read, select, update, delete, delete. So these
Yes.
four operations are called as, उसका नाम curd नहीं रे, curd नहीं.
Yes. We learn as code, sir.
It's not
Curd
curd. It's CRUD operations. I don't know, many people call this as CRUD.
We also, sir.
It's not CRUD. CRUD operations. CRUD. CRUD. So what is CRUD basically meant for? Create, read, update, and delete. Okay. So we have to have the save method, create. We have to have the read method, get. We have to have the update method, update. We have to have the delete method, delete. And get is for single record. In that case, you need to have one more method called list, which will return you all the records. Am I clear? So how many methods I am interested in creation? In general is 5 methods. Well, save, insert a new record. This one, get, select a single record, list, select all the records, update, update a record, and finally delete a record. Am I clear? Right? Now, this one I will simply write public boolean save. Ram, why boolean? Well, insert a new record, return if operation is success or not. That's what I am planning to do. Hope this is clear. So by returning boolean, I will specify that whether my work is successful or not. Okay. Now here get public. You are asking for a record. So record in the application is represented by ORM. Entity or ORM object represents table. So a table is represented by ORM object. So here you have to return a ORM object. Lekin which ORM object I did need to return? Now I don't know. Every ORM object I can return. So I could actually return an object, and you will see, you will take that object. Similarly, you will return public list of java.util.list of object called list. So here select all the records and from the table and return as ORM. So here also all the records and return as list of URL. Am I clear? Okay, so update. So here public boolean update, and similarly I have public boolean delete. This is my structure. So I am expecting a minimum of 5 operations must be there for every data access object. ज्यादा से ज्यादा इससे ज्यादा क्या करेंगे आप, राइट? इससे ज्यादा क्या करेंगे? यू कैन डू some operation based on your custom select command, right or wrong, or you may insert based on custom select command. All such operations will be there. Well, in any of the DAO has such a specific requirement, then we will write a separate method for him. By general or by default I wanted to have all these 5 operations. Okay, well, control s, ये हो गया काम, हो गया, correct or not, हो गया बराबर.
Yes.
What next? Now this guy is an interface, does not have any implementation on his own, right? So we will try to give a DAO IMPL, right click a class web test DAO IMPL, and this class simply implements web test DAO. By implementing this, I am supposed to override all the methods. So here I'm interested in overriding unimplemented methods. There are so many methods, but I don't know how to implement getter list, because this is basically based on a query. Please understand, you have to supply a query and then you will get the object. Well, uh, when you basically get a result set, you cannot map that to we'll see that one, what is the problem in implementing those two, we will see. Okay, I am not implementing that, rather I am simply implementing only save, update and delete. Because I am doing only partial implementation, I will become abstract. Why I am abstract here? Why am I abstract? Well,
Do not provide any implementation.
unable to implement get and list methods in generic way. This is the reason why I have become abstract. Well, these will be implemented with specific DAOs. We'll see that one also. Well, coming down here now, save, update, delete is supposed to be implemented by you people, correct? Right. All of these 3 methods, if you understand, will call execute update only. I repeat, will call execute update only. So what I wanted to do here, I will write a private method. Please try to understand. Look at this. I'm trying to write a private method which returns boolean. Private boolean perform save, update, delete. This is what I wanted to do. Now the best thing which you need to understand here, which one you wanted to save. By the way, when you say save, you have to give some data, right or wrong? So here I will supply object entity. So this is what I want you to save. Similarly, I want you to update this. Similarly, I want you to delete this. And then when I say get also, I need to get one record. So here I need to supply integer ID. That means a primary key value that you need to supply. Based on the value that we have supplied, I will get one record and the return. Select star from so and so table where ID is equals to ID is what you need to say. This is the actual way of implementation. It's not blindly writing the methods. So when you wanted to save or insert, what is that you wanted to insert? Well, this one I wanted to insert. What do you want to update? This one. What do you wanted to delete? This one. What do you want to get? This one. And how about list? List is nothing but bringing all the values irrespective of their IDs. I'll try to bring every select star from so and so table. Everything will be coming up to me, right? So that's the thing. 1 minute. Send me AOS. Okay, sorry, I was giving reply to this finance person. Sorry. All right. So this is what we need to do. So I quickly, I mean, I simply click here and they'll say object entity, and here also I'll say object entity. Here also I'll say object entity. Now, why I am trying to write this separate method? Because either you wanted to save or you wanted to update or you wanted to delete, you are going to do the same operation. Prepare some query, pass it to the statement or execute update, and you will get it executed, right? So I wanted to save my code. So what I will do, I will call this private boolean perform save or update or delete, and I'll supply Mr. Object Entity, and I'll simply say return false. So बाद में करेंगे इसमें implementation जो भी है. So all I have to do is here I would very simply say return perform this one, and similarly here also I'll say, look at the way I'm trying to do. So if somebody calls save, it will internally call perform. Okay, and here also I will say internally I'll call perform. So my implementation will happen only in that method perform, not in the other three methods. Okay, only here. So here only I need to implement. I will keep quiet for the remaining methods, and then that's all. Pretty simple. So what I will do here, I will declare a public string SQL is equals to null. Well, this SQL is the one which will be updated by my child classes, and this SQL is what exactly I am going to execute over here. So all I need to do is try and then catch exception E, and then say E dot print track trace. This is over, and then I will say now connection sql dot connection con is equals to connection factory dot get connection. That's first thing, and then statement is equals to con dot create statement, and then I need to say statement dot execute update of this string SQL. Work is over, and all I need is here you will have to say okay, whatever is like, if things are going fine, pretty fine. If things are not going fine, here I need to say from after printing the error return false. By default I'm thinking nothing is going wrong, so here I'll say return true. That's all. So look at this, I'm trying to save my code drastically, so I don't want it to repeat these 3-4 lines of code in every method also. So I have written it in a private method which I am calling from save or update or delete. Okay, so look at the way my code is written. It looks pretty simple, right? I'm not interested in repeating the code. If anybody, for the end user, these are not understood. For the end user, he feels like I'm asking save. There is a method called save. It will be called, but actually, I'm writing the code only at one method, which is perform save, update, or delete. Whereas the other methods are simply to do this. Okay. So that's what he will do. Nothing more than that. Now this DOIMPL is ready because used master table is a separate thing. Please note that for every table we need to write one DOIMPL. Okay, and that DOIMPL will simply extend this web test DOIMPL. Okay, well what you have to do, right click new Java class. क्या नाम है उसका बताओ? User master DO, and he simply extends web
Sir,
test.
in DAY IMPL, why we retrieve that connection factory?
Where?
In DO IMPL, yes sir, downside, in that method, perform save update it, yes sir. Why? Yes sir.
Why
Why
you
we
are
replace here?
if without this you don't get connection, right? Are you
Oh,
going to
yes
write
sir.
class dot
Why
for
here?
why is here?
Here sir.
So if you don't want to do this here, all you have to do is you have to write class dot for name, and then you have to say driver manager dot get connection.
Okay sir.
So what I did is I have put it over here. See, this entire code you have to repeat there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
तो मैंने क्या किया था, ये जो कोड है इधर लिख दिया. Now in fact I just wanted to tell you something. You know, Java 8.0 has introduced what do you call this, you can actually implement sorry, you can directly write implementation in the interface itself, you know that.
Yes, sir. Functional interface.
Functional interface, nahi, wo functional interface is only one method basically. Interface methods is what it is. Like if you have these methods like this, assume, in that case you
This is for
actually can have
default methods.
default
Okay.
methods. Yes, exactly, default method. So in that case you need not implement it in this way, but basically you could write your do itself have all that stuff. Okay, but for now people says ki you better have the do followed by do in your way. So here is my user master do. Well, what you are supposed to do here, you are not supposed to do it in this way also, honestly speaking. I'll close this and I'll say don't say user master do, refactor, rename, user master do, impl is the name of this fellow. Okay, now what is this fellow will have is right click new interface, user master do. This user master do extends web test do, control S. Press, please understand, if you are looking at any specific method to be implemented, which is not common to all other DOs, you can write it. For example, for users, login check is a specific method. This login check is not there for every other table, right? So here I will write public. Okay, the return type is Boolean check user login, which will take object obj. This is a specific method exclusively for user master DAO. Now this guy is extending web test DAO. So by default, he will be having all the 5 methods plus this is an extra method. Am I clear? Well, I'll come down to user master DAO IMPL. This user master DAO IMPL extends web test DAO IMPL implements user master DAO. Well, because I said I am extending user test DAO IMPL, I by default have implemented 3 methods. Plus, I am yet to implement 3 more methods. So here I'll try to add the unimplemented methods 3. One is get, another is list, third one is check user login. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So please note that एक मिनट रुको. Right, I'm sorry. So, so what am I supposed to do? I am supposed to implement only these things, which is get and which is list and then check user login. Let's work out on this one. Okay, so what I will do is here I'll try to write my query. So here I'll say this dot SQL is equals to, okay, this dot SQL is equals to um, something I'll write, which is select user name comma name comma और क्या है, यूजर नेम, email id comma mobile number from user master where id is equals to plus id. on what you have got. This is my SQL. Okay. Now my intention is to basically, please understand, the intention is to, uh, get this SQL executed and then I get a result set. So what I will do, I'll go to this IMPL. You can see this is a private method. I have written private method, which is not accessible by anyone. Now I'll try to write a small protected method. Protected. Okay. Result set. Am I clear? Protected result set is what it is. Am I clear? Get object, or I could say simply get entity. And here it will take string SQL as a input. So here I'll supply string SQL as an input, or SQL is already there in the parent from the parent class. So all I need is I will try and then say catch exception e dot print stack trace. So on the top of this, I'll declare result set rs is equals to null, and I have to return that result set in the last. Return rs. Now, before I return the rs, I need to fill that with the values. So I will say rs is equals to statement dot is what I need to do. So I need a connection. I need a statement. I'll bring him here. Yeah, Pundarikam. एक मिनट పునరికం సార్ చెప్పండి. ఏది ఇప్పుడు కొత్తగా కొంటున్న ఇంట్లోనా? మొన్న సెప్టెంబర్ నుంచి సార్. ఆఫ్టర్ రిజిస్ట్రేషన్ నేను ఇక్కడికి షిఫ్ట్ అయ్యాను. దసరా దసరాకి మేము గృహప్రవేశం అయ్యాం. దసరా నుంచి అనుకోండి, సెప్టెంబర్ కాదు. అది సెప్టెంబర్ మంత్ అంతా ఇంటీరియర్ నడిచింది. దసరాకి మేము షిఫ్ట్ అయ్యాము ఇక్కడికి. వేదాంత్ని ఇప్పుడు రావుస్ వాళ్ళు రన్ చేస్తున్నారు. అవును సార్. అవును సార్, వీళ్ళు తీసుకున్నారు. అవునండి. రావుస్ వాళ్ళు ఏం చేశారంటే వేదాంత్ని టేక్ ఓవర్ చేసుకున్నారు, కొనేసారు. కాకపోతే ఈ సాలరీస్ మాత్రం వీళ్ళ నుంచే వస్తాయి, వేదాంత నుంచే వస్తాయి. అయితే వాళ్ళు పార్ట్నర్స్ అనమాట ఇద్దరు. వాళ్ళు నడిపిస్తారు, వీళ్ళు ఇన్పుట్ ఇస్తారు. సో వచ్చిన దాంట్లో అట్లా షేరింగ్ లాగా అవి క్లోజ్ చేసేస్తారండి. అవునండి. 43,989 కన్స్యూమర్ లోను. ఇది ల్యాప్టాప్, డెల్ ల్యాప్టాప్. కాదు, మన ఐడిఎఫ్సి. యా, ఈఎంఐ 588 చేంజ్ ఉంది సార్. 58. అవును, కరెక్ట్. అది వచ్చేసి థర్డ్కి ఉంటుంది సార్, సెకండ్ థర్డ్ ఉంటుంది. మీకు స్టేట్మెంట్ పంపించారు అయినా ఉందా? అందులోనే ఉంటుంది, ఒకసారి మీరు చూస్తే. అవును సార్. Sorry guys, I'm really sorry. Okay, so the credit manager call so is asking me all clarifications before releasing the eligibility loan. So rs is equals to statement dot, this time I'll say execute query, because it's not execute update anymore. Please understand, execute update is only for insert, update, delete, whereas this one is for select command. So I am saying statement dot execute query of rs. The rs whatever I get, I'm just returning. Okay, so get entity, and then I'll get my list. Well, this protected method is not available for the outsiders, but available for the child people. Well, this is the child. So what I can do here is I can simply say result set rs is equals to get entity, and that's all. I have updated my SQL, and with this SQL that I have updated, get entity method is called, and I have written with the rs. Now tell me, what is this get method available for user master? So the query is also selecting the details from the user master. That means the result set is indented to return me the user master details. So expecting user master details in the result set. Okay, well, I will say while this rs dot next, I mean, I have at least one record. I wanted to do something. This is what it is. Okay. So this rs dot next basically requires you to handle the SQL exception. So will do that as well. We'll do that as well. Now, how many records I'm expecting? Because I have given where condition as ID is equals to something, I am expecting only one record. So I will say if rs dot next, I can say that. Well, I will say try and catch exception E. As usual, I need to say क्या है E dot print stack press. बढ़िया. Well, this is what RS is. Now, you know that what you are getting is a user master. So here you will say user master object UM, or you can say user master is equals to new user master, and this user master fill result set data into user master is what you do, and you will simply return that user master over here. That's what you are going to do. Understood now? So you have a result set, get from the database, and the entire data that you have received you will fill into the user master object and return him. That's what you are going to do. Well, when you are getting the list also, you will do the same thing. Control C, Control V with a slight change. It's not just user master what you are going to do get. You are going to get a list, and list of user masters is you are going to get. User master list is equals to new array list, right? And this user master list is what you are supposed to return. Now, how do you fill that user master list? Well, we will see that one. Okay. And then here, this list is to select all the user masters. So there is no where condition. Select username, name, email ID, mobile number from user master. I will also select ID if required. In fact, you can say select star also. It is up to you. Well, this is what it is. User master list is what I am supposed to return. But here it says key a mismatch. User master list cannot be converted to list of objects. So you could actually take this as list of object user master list. Control S. Well, look at these two. This will become while rs. dot next. This is if rs dot next, because here you get only one record, here you will get multiple records. Okay, and here is into a list of user master and you have to return. Okay, this is what you are supposed to do. Well, let's fill this. I will say user master dot set the id as the id that I have received from the request, and then I will say user master dot set the username coming as result set dot get the string coming in the column 1. Look at this column 1. Select me column 1 username, select column 2 name, column 3 email id. Well, Ram, I am confused. तो आप आराम से कॉलम का नेम लिख दो भाई, यूजर नेम. Then user master dot set the name as rs dot get the string coming as name. Got it? Then user master dot set the email id as rs dot get the string coming as email id, and finally mobile number. User master dot set the mobile number as rs dot get the string coming as mobile number. Now, after that, I have added everything. I am returning user master. Okay, this is what we need to do. The same thing here also, but with a slight extra work. Well, Control C and look at this. आराम से देखो कंट्रोल, लेकिन यूजर मास्टर किधर है, यहाँ पे नहीं है. So take the user master, because for every record you need to create a new user master for every record. So while rs.next I create a new user master and I'll try to set the value. So here it is rs dot get the integer coming as id. That is what I will get, and then I will set. So ID, username, name, email ID, and mobile number. After that, you have made user master ready. This user master should be added to your list of objects. So here I will say user master list dot add user master, and then the while loop repeats. I'll get another user master. While loop repeats, I'll get another user master. While loop repeats, I'll get another user master. I have added all of them to this list and I'm returning the list. That is what you will do with the get as well as with the list. Similarly, check user login. So here also I'll say a string SQL is equals to, I want to do something. So what is that you wanted to do here? I'll say select, what do you call this? Star, or I will try to add ID comma name from user master table where username is equals to something and password is equals to something. We will see that later on. For today, for now, today's session, we have half an hour more left. So we'll try to write the remaining layers and then get these values. So here, when you call list, you are expected to get all the list of users. When you call get, you are expected to get one single ID based user master. Well, check user login. We'll check whether the given username and password are correct or not. This is all the setup. Okay, so I have my user master DOIMPL is ready. Well, who will call the DOIMPL? Mr. Service. Okay, so here I'll go with Mr. Service layer. Where is my service layer, by the way? Do I have the service layer? Refresh. Oh, service already exists. Okay, so right click new interface and I'll create that interface in the service called as user master service. And this user master service will contain basically I will create a universal service create an interface which is web test service. So look at this web test service. What is this web test service, Ram? It will contain exactly the same methods as in the DO. Because service you need to call it, right? Service has to call it, right? So the service layer will contain the same methods which are there in the DO control S. Okay. Now this web test service is implemented by someone called as web test service IMPL. So you will be having most of the times in this way, but people will say when it comes to service, don't do that one, because when it comes to service layer, this will differ from one class to another class. DAOs can be in common, but services deals with request and response objects. So they say that don't go with in this way. Well, in that way, the user master service will contain only those methods that are required for user master. Most of the times it will be taken from the DAO only. So tell me, what is that you can have? For now, what I have is get as well as list. So I'll try to say public object get, which will take integer ID. This is one method I have. Public list java.util.list of object, well, which is called as list. These are the two methods I have. And another thing I have is public boolean check user login kind of stuff. So we will implement this later. For now, I am interested in implementing only this one, not even get. In fact, I am interested in only the list. Okay, this is the one. So when you call list, it is expected to return you the list of objects. Okay, so this list of objects which I am receiving, then I'll take it over there at the JSP level, and then I will showcase the output. Fair enough. So what is this service IAMPL will do? Let us see. Right click, a new Java class, user master service IMPL. This fellow implements user master service, and I will try to add an unimplemented method. So in the service, I'll say this one implements. It's no need. This is itself is an interface. Okay, user master service. What is that you can do is give me a second. Allow lay the. Okay, guys. So I'm sorry, I'm back to my code again. So much of disturbance today. So what you can do here, you actually can import Mr. User Master DAO. User Master DAO, user DAO is equals to new user master DAO IMPL. Hey, what is this? Told you whenever there is a DAO, he will be implemented by his corresponding DAO IMPL. Remember this point. This is always has to be there in the dynamic binding style. So what you are supposed to return here, return user DAO dot list. That's all. So that's it. हो गया. This is what he will do. So he will call user DAO, and then whatever he gets, he will simply return. And then the DAO which is implemented by DAO IMPL will have the code like this to return the list. This is where you have struggled, and you are returning. Fair enough. Control S हो गया. अभी यहाँ पे आया था मैं user master control S हो गया. Now I have to show these values in the JSP page. So I'll go to JSP, index.jsp. Okay, so here I'll write my scriptlet. So in the scriptlet, I will say user master service. User service is equals to new user master service IMPL. I have taken the object. Now what is that I'm getting is list of object, which is user list, is equals to user service dot list. I have got the list. Now what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to print the values, right? So I am checking if this user list not is equals to null and user list dot size is greater than 0. That means if I have at least one element in it, I would like to print. So what am I supposed to do here? I need to print. Okay. Well, what you are going to do, Ram? I'll have got many elements in it. So I'll say for each object obj available in the user list, I wanted to perform this operation. What is the operation you wanted to perform now? So here, what I will do, first of all, the object what I'm getting is user master. I know that. DO is returning me the user master. Okay. అరే యార్ एक minute. ప్రకాశన ఒక 10 నిమిషాల్లో కాల్ చేయను, నేను ఒక కాల్లో ఉన్నాను, ఆఫీస్ కాల్లో. ఒక 10 నిమిషాలు వచ్చి. యా, సారీ. సో ఐ విల్ సే యూజర్ మాస్టర్ user is equals to user master typecasted of this object. You can ask me, Ram, why you are typecasting it to user master? Because the user master DAO, if you have seen him, he is returning this list as a list of object only. But what he is adding to this list is user master. Am I clear? So object which you are adding is user master only. By the time we have sent him back, he is going back as list of object. Well, he is still in list of object mode only. For him, I cannot use him as an object. I can use him as a user master only. So I am typecasting him to user master. Now after that I have typecasted him to user master, I will say tr and then slash tr. For each user I am printing rows. So I will say td slash td. So what is the first T name? So I will say scriptlet is equals to user dot get the name. Look at this, how simple. Then td slash td, and I'll say scriptlet is equals to user dot get, what is the second one? Username. Look at this, name, username. And I need to print two more things, email ID and mobile number. Well, if you wanted to print ID also, you could actually print the ID. You are welcome. So ID, name, all of this you are printing, right? ID, name, username, email ID, mobile number. So here the first TD I wanna print is last TD, and scriptlet is equals to user dot get ID, and then username, name, and I need to print td slash td. Scriptlet is equals to user dot get email ID, and finally the mobile number. I'll say td slash td. Scriptlet is equals to user dot get mobile number. Done. Well, I am interested in printing all these details. I have printed Control S. Now this is my JSP page, which is simply getting the values from the user service and printing. Is there anything in the user service? Honestly, no. So the total code that I have struggled and written is only in the user master DOIMPL. Yes or no? The remaining all are linking layers only. Well, let's run this project. So I'll say web test, and I'll say run on the server. that I have changed so much of code. I'm rewriting, I mean running this application. See, I have one record and I have received the record. Let's insert one more record. Insert into user master values. I'm inserting 2 comma admin 123 name administrator admin@lookata.com comma mobile number 9848032919. You know this number? Anybody? You don't know? Come on, yeah, you should see Showman movie. Okay, that's the Showmanist number. Well, after that, if I say refresh, I should see the second record. It is that simple. Though it brings the data in a split second, it looks so simple to bring the data. This is what the struggle behind the scenes. Hope you understand how you develop an application step by step. Yesterday you have seen one model where you are saving the record. Today you have seen another model where you are bringing the records, and I have added one more added layer. Yesterday we were writing code directly in the DAO. Now I have added DAO IMPL. Yesterday we have only service. Now I have added service IMPL. That is the only difference. Today have we worked with controllers? No. Why, Ram, you haven't worked with controllers? Why haven't you? Well, this is because, like, controllers are needed if you have to handle the request. JSP on the background himself is a servlet. I repeat this. Every JSP page you are writing, when you compile the page, when you run the program, each page is compiled into a servlet in the background. So he himself will act as a controller. So if you write a JSP, you don't require a controller exclusively. Am I clear?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So, bhai, this is what the get part is. Yesterday we have seen the save part. We have seen the get part today. Happily practice this thing. Struggle, understand slowly, develop the thing, and tomorrow we will see a complete end-to-end thing. Like the same application, we will add one more table, one more page, one more this kind of thing, and we will see how to develop. Tomorrow we'll try to develop the same application using JSPs and then service DAOs and everything. We'll develop Amazon kind of thing. You know Amazon, right? Uh, Tomorrow, expectation to develop for us is a home page. In the home page, you would be having a heading, welcome to Amazon or Flipkart or something. Left side, you would be having list of categories. Here, something like this. Categories. Let's say jewelry, kidswear, sports, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. All that kind of stuff. So much. And then right side, by default, you would be having all the products of all the categories. यार ये तो खराब हो गया. Okay, this is what is expected to be developed tomorrow. This is page number 1. This is what we call as product list. This is what we call as category list. Now, if the end user clicks on jewelry, we expect this product list to be changed with only those products which belongs to the jeweler. Correct or not? That's what happens, right or wrong? Right? So when you press search में तुम लोग mobile करके search button मारोगे, you will be getting the list of all the mobiles. Correct or not? Right? So that's what you are going to develop tomorrow. So here you will be having a heading of Amazon, and this is the thing. So here there is something called as admin login. So what admin login will do is, this admin is the only person who basically will add categories, add products into the site. So he decides what categories must be there and what products are there for each category. So he will give him a home page from where he will add the categories and he will add the products, and he can delete the product, he can update the product. This is where we actually will see CUD operations, and we will also see the R operation. In fact, he will see the list of things, right? And then whatever the list that he has added, we will be displaying those lists over here. That is the app we are going to download tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, which is Thursday as well as on Friday. Today is Wednesday, right? Yes. So by end of the week, you would be having a small Amazon application which will be having an admin login where you will add categories and products, and then which will be having a customer view. He will see the list of categories. He'll click on every category and then see the list of products corresponding to that. There is a small button purchase now. And when you click on purchase now, it will simply show congratulations, your product will be delivered to you by tomorrow. Okay? That's what you are going to develop. समझ गए, right? So we develop this tomorrow and day after tomorrow, and you practice this by weekend. Make sure that you are capable of developing a web application using servlets and JSP with JDBC communication claps. Then we will get into Spring and Hibernate next week. Got it?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
बढ़िया. तो ठीक है, मैं अपलोड करता हूँ वीडियो और फाइल्स, सब प्रैक्टिस करो. या somebody is saying something. Somebody saying something. सर बोल के कुछ तो बोल रहे थे.